Hi, mobile phones have been intended for communication and accessibility initially, but through time, phones have become smarter and more capable, so its purpose extended. One of the most revolutionary improvements happened the moment they included cameras. As industry advanced, phone cameras got better and more complex. So now, majority of consumers, while looking for a phone camera, may not have a clear picture what exactly they should look for. Is it megapixel or lenses or something else that matters? Let's see after the intro. Hi guys, and welcome to Digital Marketing's channel. My name is Marco and this is your weekly fix of tech news, leaks, rumors and opinions. Everything about Apple and their competitors. If you're a fan of this type of content, please subscribe and don't forget to hit notification icon so you don't miss the next video. So, what are the most important segments of the smartphone camera? Let's start with the sensor that captures the image. But before we continue, let's be honest. While smartphone photography hugely improved, it's still far away from traditional cameras, and not to mention DSLRs, which is understandable if we look at the smartphone size. If we compare image sensors from various devices, image sensors on mobile phones are on the smallest end of the spectrum. Bigger sensor means larger pixel size and more light, depth of field, higher dynamic range, and overall better image quality. Smaller sensor limitations become more obvious, especially in low light. There are those instances where smaller sensor can provide more satisfying experience, but that's rare. Majority of smartphones are coming with Sony sensors. They are the biggest manufacturer in the game. Apple, Nokia, OnePlus, Xiaomi, and others are coming with Sony sensors, depending on the brand or specific model. Huawei, for example, which is leading the pack in terms of smartphone cameras, even with its partnership with Leica, is using Sony sensors. Some Samsung smartphones as well, even if they are next in line as sensor manufacturers. One of the most obvious differences is that regular cameras are coming with one sensor and movable parts. DSLRs have the upper hand because you can exchange lenses with various specs and capabilities. Smartphones, due to its compactness and size limitations, do not include moving parts. So smartphone manufacturers are forced to improvise by adding more lenses. And guess what? Underneath every lens lies one sensor. So you want ultra-wide capability, you add ultra-wide lens with its own sensor, etc. Some of these lenses carrying signature designs like the ones from Zeiss, Leica, and while not necessary means they were produced by those factories, which in many cases they are not, the brand name still means mark of quality, which is important. Although if we talk about quality, all those lens elements were made out of plastic and not of real glass in order to cut the production cost. Now, if you notice that some smartphone manufacturers are promoting 5P, 6P, 7P on camera specs list, try not to give too much importance. These numbers represent layers or elements, or even lenses in lens. And the higher the number, it means less potential distortion of color and potential errors in focus. Most of the current lenses are 6 or 7P, so you don't have to worry about it. But still, keep in mind that the lens is there to focus and to transmit the light. How much light will reach the sensor depends from opening or the aperture. The bigger the aperture, more light. Better photos in low light conditions. While in real cameras, aperture is adjustable due to movable parts and lenses, in smartphones these numbers are usually fixed. Samsung tried phones with dual aperture, but that project ended up scrapped. Aperture also plays an important role in depth of field. If aperture is bigger, the image will have more shallow background comparable to main focus on the photo. This is perfect for profile photos, especially since the focus area is narrower. If the aperture is smaller, depth of field will be less blurry and the focus in a photo will include more elements, aka it'll be wider. Bigger aperture also means faster lens. If you see F number in camera section of the smartphone box or advertising material, it is the f-stop number. The smaller f number is, the bigger the aperture. the shooter is faster and vice versa. For example, f1.8 is faster than f2.2. One more number that can attract your attention is focal length, and it's usually displayed in millimeters. The higher the number, more narrow field of view. For example, ultra-wide cameras has lower focal length. One of the most commonly referred details in the world of cameras, regardless is it point and shoot, DSLR, smartphone, or something else, is megapixel count. While in early days this number means a world of difference, nowadays it's not that much. The pixel represents a dot in the image. The higher resolution of the photo means more pixels. So-called 8 megapixel camera equals photo with more than 8 million pixels. By default, more pixels, more details. But then the problem becomes obvious when you compare 12 megapixel DSLR that has 10 times bigger sensor than the one on a smartphone with 108 megapixel camera. Confusing? Yes, the sensor size does matter, so as the pixel size. The bigger pixel size, the more light it will receive, which is important especially in a low light condition. Manufacturers are using various approaches and technology to make pixels smaller, and that's how we get cameras with such high megapixel count. More megapixels can be beneficial if you want to zoom and save only one portion of the image without much loss of quality, and if you want to print, which requires high resolution photo. Of course, the image must be properly focused and sharp enough. For social networks, digital photo albums, megapixel count is not that much relevant once you reach a certain point. Sometimes more megapixels means problem, like too much noise in low light. There are reasons why some smartphone manufacturers equip their flagships with 12 or 16 megapixel cameras instead of going to 64 or 108. They are trying to maintain pixel size bigger. You know what's funny? Even those high-end megapixel count cameras, they have smaller auto output. For example, Huawei's P40 50 megapixel main shooter by default outputs 12.5 megapixels. The final pieces of puzzle of smartphone camera capabilities are chips and software. Computational photography and artificial intelligence are playing a huge role in dealing with limitations of smartphone small form factor. Lossless zoom, smaller pixels, digital stabilization, low light or night photography, some of the examples where these technologies are essential. Google lifted computational photography to the next level thanks to its software and so-called neural core chip. Apple's latest 813 Bionic, in combination with recent iOS features, accomplished the same in iPhone. There are instances where phones with identical camera modules can end up with different photo results. Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra with Snapdragon 865 makes better low-light photos than the same device with Samsung's Exynos chip. Now, with all that out of the way, how to select a smartphone with good camera for you? Let's see what exactly you need. You can be perfectly fine with one main wide camera lens unless you want to shoot vistas, some architectural wonders, cityscapes, etc. Well, in that case, you should look for a smartphone with ultra-wide shooter. For someone that likes a portrait photography, time or flight camera will finish the job. Telephoto lens, in this case, can become handy, even if, beside periscopic lens, it's excellent if you want good zooms. Lately, even macro photography lovers have some options available. It all depends what type of photos you want to make and what's your budget. If you can afford it, you can always buy a phone with multi-camera setup. Just don't put much attention to numbers. You will be more than fine with just 12 megapixel camera. As far as chip goes, Huawei's Kirin, Apple's A series, as well as Qualcomm Snapdragon are more than capable chips that, combined with the right camera hardware and software, should be able to deliver perfectly, especially in great lighting conditions. Keep in mind, smartphones with MediaTek chips in general seems like they're not giving some top of the line and impressive photo result. If you're considering using a smartphone and print, you should definitely look for smartphones with more camera capability, like Huawei P40. It has a powerful, slightly bigger sensor, 50 megapixel main shooter, powerful pentacamera setup, everything in line with Leica quality standards. There are some other devices that can help you as well. Honor V30 Pro, Samsung Galaxy S20, OnePlus 8 Pro or 7T Plus, Xiaomi Mi 9, iPhone 11 Pro Max, etc. Now, for digital use only, we have various contenders, and almost every manufacturer brings some devices that can finish the job for you. What stands out here are lenses selection. For example, Huawei, Samsung, Xiaomi come with variety of cameras But in terms of pure image quality, or even better, nighttime performance, the number of models drops down significantly, like iPhone 11 and its Pro counterparts, even Google Pixel models. Samsung flagships, Xiaomi Mi and some Redmi models, including some Huawei smartphones, are completing the job as well. What you want to make sure is to buy a phone with optical image stabilization, which majority of phones already has. Where does that leave the iPhone specifically in this case? While latest generation of iPhone cameras are one of the top in the world, although not the best, they are still like the most complete as a package, especially in online application, digital content, and social network sharing. iPhones do have the upper hand due to excellent image optimization and deliver the best overall results. One of the reasons for that are developers of apps like Instagram, for example. They don't have to deal with thousands of different smartphone models like in Android universe. Apple does not have many supported iPhones in pipeline, so it's easier to developers to make necessary adjustments for only a few devices and to make it perfect. Finally, one more segment where Apple is still untouchable is video. And if you want to record a video on your phone, without hesitation you can go with Apple devices, even in lower end like this year's iPhone SE, although you will miss some more creative shots due to the lack of lens varieties. If you wonder how come, for example, Huawei doesn't show better video shooting capabilities, the answer is straightforward. Their partnership with Leica is strictly tied to photographs or still images. So there you go. Anyway, I hope this video was useful. How important are smartphone cameras for you? And do you have any specific lens of preference? Please answer in the comments below. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, and once again, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching Digital Marketing's channel. Talk to you soon. Have an excellent day.